We have got Igor Costa up against Sydney Morrison. And Ray, you know both of these people quite well.
Yeah, Sydney Morrisoli. Last time I saw her, she was just a little kid. She has grown up since I last played this game.
Yeah, she's aged into the Masters division.
Yes, and she was one of the best junior players when I was around, and now she's clearly one of the best Master players.
That's amazing.
She actually defeated Michael Promowat in the recent round, and as we all know, Michael Promowat is one of the best players in the world, and so is Igor. Igor has won Worlds before. He's got second at Worlds before. If Sydney can pick up this win, she's just solidifying herself as probably one of the better players in the world.
That would be a huge win for Sydney, especially over Igor, who is, like you were saying, such a storied Pokemon TCG player. And it's going to be Gardevoir up against the Volcanion Turtonator deck that we've been seeing quite a bit of, running the 4 copies of Fighting Fury Belt alongside a Lily Tech as well. Do you know much about this matchup, Ray?
I mean, it's Gardevoir versus Volcanion. I think we've actually seen this play out where the Volcanion, they can get multiple steam ups and take a one-hit knockout if they get lucky onto the Gardevoir. But if they don't do it with Turtonator, they're not discarding the energies. The Volcanion has 3 energies on it. If they don't have a Fighting Fury Belt, Gardevoir only needs a Fairy Energy and a DCE, and it's just knocking out the Volcanion for seemingly no effort at all.
Yeah. We've seen this matchup earlier today. It seemed to be fairly even if both players get good starts. Volcanion just is so fast at accelerating the energy onto the bench and setting up multiple large Pokemon at the same time, whereas Gardevoir tends to front load a lot of the energy onto the Gardevoir. Then they're using Sylveon for that Plea GX, but she also has the Gallade Tech, which we've seen, as well as a Turtonator GX of her own, and that Mr. Mime, which prevents Flying Flip spread from Tapu Koko specifically.
Yeah, and we see Igor here uses the Lily. He draws up to 8 cards because this is his first turn. And he's just looking to try to get Volcanions down on the board. He's looking to be able to set up to start using the baby Volcanion's attack and just put more energies on the board. He uses a max elixir here. He hits the fire energy, attaches to the Turtonator. This is still his turn 1 and turn 1 of the game, so he can't attack quite yet.
But he's making great use of all of his resources and options for turn 1.
Yeah. Power Heater, this is what we see the deck do, honestly. It just sits there, and it power heaters for like the first 3 or 4 turns of the game until they have multiple Volcanions set up. And, ooh, Sydney plays an N without benching anything.
That means that her hand was bad. It means that she didn't have anything that she wanted to attach, and her active is an Oranguru, so she doesn't really want to use the energy on this unless she has to retreat it with the 2 energy cost. Might as well just start over. She
needs to find some routes here. Like, she needs to put down routes, get the basics set up. What she wanted that turn was to find a Tapu Lele and find a Bridget so she could get multiple basic Pokemon onto the board.
She's only running 1 copy of Bridget, 1 copy of Essarola, so her Bridget on turn 1 capability is lower. If it is prized, of course, that is a huge problem. She finds an Alolan Vulpix with the Beacon ability, but
can she find a way to retreat?
That is the question. Looks like she's got an Ultra Ball, another N in hand.
I don't know. She does not want a dedicated DCE to this Oranguru to retreat either, because the double colorless energy is so crucial in this matchup to being able to hit those perfect numbers on the Volcanion. And it looks like she's just going to Ultra Ball, search her deck. This is actually, I believe, one of her first searches, so she probably just wants to check, see what's prized, just like Igor would do if he searched his deck. She finds a Ralts.
I did note Igor, even though he hit the Fire Energy on his 3rd draw, I believe, off the Max Elixir, still took the full 6 to look at what exactly he picked up. So taking every opportunity to figure out what is in my prizes and what am I really working with here.
Yeah, and we just saw an Instruct for 1, and Sydney actually hit the Float Zone off of the top of the deck, which allowed her to retreat, which means she can use Alolan Vulpix's attack beacon, find 2 more Pokemon, put them into her hand, The problem with this is she didn't actually get an energy attachment this turn, which means she's just so far behind on energies. Igor looks like he has everything he wants.
The Gardevoir is naturally going to be behind Volcanion on energy attachment because Volcanion is so efficient at discarding energy and then attaching it with the baby Volcanion. But when you're missing an additional turn on top of that, and you do need a significant amount of energy to be able to knock out these Volcanion, especially when they have Fighting Fury Belt on them, now you're really struggling.
Yeah, and this is the first Gardevoir GX deck that we've actually seen that is not playing Sylveon. We actually saw Pablo against...
That's very strange.
We saw Pablo Mesa against Jimmy Pendarvis earlier, and one of the ways that Pablo was able to get a huge tempo swing in the game when he was behind was to set up a plea attack on 2 Volcanion EXs that were fully charged, wiping all of Jimmy's energies off of the board. Sydney does not have that option to do that. She's not playing it. She
has the Turtonator instead of the Sylveon as her GX tech of choice, as well as the Mr. Mime to prevent against Tapu Koko, which makes a lot of sense. We're seeing a lot of Tapu Koko in the meadow right now, but unfortunately not going to be relevant in this matchup for her.
Yeah, her tech choices here, I mean, although they are very strong in the metagame, they're not strong against this deck.
No.
And this is probably not even a popular deck. It's just a deck that one specific group of people brought, and they're all doing phenomenal.
They've made it popular. We've seen them on stream 3-4 times over, all doing incredibly well with this deck specifically.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Ryan Sablehouse, Azul.
We've seen Ryan Sablehouse twice. Igor now twice as well.
Jimmy Pendarvis. Who else? Rahul is playing Volcanion. Just Bradley Curcio. Just all these top players playing Volcanion. Generally, like whatever they play, they're probably going to do well with.
Yeah, if they came together and decided that this was a good enough deck for them to bring, they're going to pilot it near flawlessly every time, as they're all phenomenal players. That means that this deck has something. It has something that the Ho-Oh build doesn't. It has something that Gardevoir doesn't.
And this is a unique build because we've seen other Volcanion builds on stream, but none of them were this setup heavy. They were all Kiawe based.
Yeah, Kiawe based Ho-Oh Salazzle builds with some Volcanion, but this one is specifically the Volcanion Turtonator, like the rest of their friend group was playing and like we didn't expect to see.
Yeah, and Igor is able to just do Power Heater with a Steam Up to just one-hit knock out the Vulpix there, which is that's just the best start like you can possibly have.
A blazing fast start, but Sydney does hit the rare candy into the Gardevoir. Secret Springs for 1 fairy energy, attaches another, and then instructs to draw 2/3. She's got an N in hand, so she can draw additional this turn if she wants to.
Yeah, I mean,
she has a Sycamore as well.
She opts the Sycamore here, but this is really awkward. Like we've seen so much in the past, Volcanion, it's just a big wall. You do not want to attack this thing if you're not knocking it out, because it's just going to stay there forever. Gardevoir does not have the ability to spread damage. It doesn't have Tapu Koko to flying flip. It doesn't have small increments of damage. Mainly Gardevoir is just going to hit big, and if it doesn't hit big enough, it's almost just not worth even bothering.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a bunch of big dudes. They set up so quickly. They're not weak to Espeon that we've been seeing with Miraculous Shine. They aren't weak to the type spread that is very popular. In fact, they're very good against Metagross and against Golisopod. This deck, in hindsight, makes so much sense to bring just this pure Volcanion strategy instead of the Ho-Oh, which can be a little bit less consistent but has a much stronger start if you get Kiawe on 1.
Would you say that this deck is straight fire?
Yes. Yes, I would.
Me too.
It's lit, Ray.
Thank you. Gardevoir, that's straight fairy.
Well, actually, you got Glade.
Oh, that's true.
That's fighting. Yeah, Turtonator, that's fire. Lowland Vulpix, that's water. And Oranguru, that's colorless. So,
fair enough. Fair enough, Cora. We're going to see Igor just effectively set up everything here.
He has everything that he wants. He had all the energy in the early game. You opened the baby Volcanion, and now he can even Sycamore and draw 7.
I mean, at this point, the question becomes, when do I actually start attacking with my big main attackers?
When does he want to swap out this Volcanion and bring in one of his setup Turtonators?
Yeah, and going with Turtonator is actually very smart by Igor. He could have gone with Volcanion, but Turtonator discards the energy when it attacks, so that way he will not be able to get Retaliate knocked out by Infinite Force because he's just discarding all the energy. And it's very unlikely that Sydney is able to have so many energies on one Gardevoir that she can knock out a Fighting Fury belted Turtonator with 1 energy on it. That's just so much HP.
It's not going to happen. Once the Turtonator attacks, it doesn't need to retreat because it makes itself, 60 damage resistant by taking the energy off. And it's so easy for Igor to get those energy back onto the Turtonator with the baby Volcanion if he wants them, or he can just retreat out to the other Turtonator that he has set up. And once one of these Gardevoir is out of the way, Sydney does not have another one set up. So she is going to need to get that going. Otherwise, she'll have no attack power once this one is knocked out.
Yeah, and this is just not looking that great for Sydney right now. I mean, Igor is doing what he wants to be doing. He's just sitting there, powering up everything. Sydney's going to need to find Guzmas. This is one of the key moments where Guzma is so effective because, I mean, once Igor is actually able to attack with these Turtonators, like we said earlier, he's going to be discarding the energy. But right now they have 2. They're within knockout range. So it has 190 HP, right? So 2 energies on the Gardevoir, 2 energies on the Turtonator. That is...
Essentially, the Gardevoir and the Turtonator are at parity right now. They both have 230 hit points, active hit points.
Well, not the one with the on the bench.
Yeah, the one with the Fighting Fury belt.
Yeah. But if Sydney was able to find a Guzma that last turn instead of just knocking out the Volcanion,
she could bring up the bench and
she could try to one-hit knock out the bench Turtonator without the Fighting Fury belt.
She really wants to find a double colorless or another choice band, but she's actually set up the choice band on the routes on her bench because she knows this Gardevoir is going to get knocked out. So she has started to set up another one with a choice band and 2 fairy energy, but she needs the rare candy and the Guardy, or she needs Kirlia and some time.
Yeah, but I don't think Igor is going to give her the time that she needs. I mean, we see here that Sydney promotes the Mr. Mime. She's just hoping that she can find anything right now. She needs to find the candy. She needs to find the Gardevoir. And on top of all of that, she needs to somehow have enough energies to start one-hit knockouting these Turtonators so she can come back into the game. And she's just going to end here for 3. I mean, obviously you hope Igor doesn't draw anything, but does Igor even need anything besides maybe an energy?
Yeah, he needs an energy for the Turtonator to be able to use Bright Flame, and he would need 2 on his Volcanion to be able to actually attack with that. But other than that, he's in a pretty good position.
Even with the Mr. Mime here active, like, all Igor needs is a Guzma, and he can just start hitting.
Yeah, he can bring in the Turtonator on the bench that has the 2 energy on it, put 1 energy on that, and that Ralts is gone.
I mean, you don't even need to do that, really. You just need to steam up and then find
either way,
another,
you use an energy.
Yeah.
But with,
Yeah. And we see a Max Elixir here that finds a fire energy. Before, when we were watching Igor, he actually kept he whiffed multiple times, and then he was able to get a donk on the last game because he just found double fire energy off Max Elixir. I actually think that was the game that we had Cora number 2 casting.
Yes. And then Ray number 2 came after.
Yeah, he was very beautiful. He had long, luscious hair.
He was a little bit taller than me.
Yeah, he was a bit bigger.
Cora number 2, a little bit taller than me.
He was. Voice was a little bit deeper as well.
That's hard to do. I have a pretty deep voice.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Or so they tell me when I play multiplayer online games and use team chat for some reason.
Well, that's just a mistake. All right, we're going to see.
You got to live on the edge, Ray.
That's true. I live on the edge all the time.
Of death. I don't quite mean that much on the edge.
Oh, boy. All right. Igor is just going to do Shell Trap. He's just going to deal 30 damage here and buffer his Turtonator effectively. If Sydney wants to hit it, she's going to take 80 damage. I mean...
Well, the Float Stone and the Fighting Fury Belt are out of the equation, so the Turtonator is back down to 190 hit points.
Yeah.
But she still does not have a Gardevoir active.
No, she doesn't have a Gardevoir on the board, period. She has a Guzma, though. She's going to bring up the Tapu Lele, try to stall here, hope that Igor doesn't have an energy to be able to retreat. I mean, we know that Igor has a plethora of energies in his hand. He has whatever he wants right now, and he's going to attach, he's going to retreat, he's going to bring up the Turtonator. He can't attach again, so he can only really do Shell Trap again. But, I mean, that's fine. He can just keep doing this. If he had a baby Volcanion, that's obviously the best possible scenario.
Igor,
but
he's looking for a way to get to that route on the bench, so a Guzma to bring it out and then one energy to be able to knock it out. And that would pretty much just secure him this game. Even with remaining prizes, if Sydney has no routes on the bench to be able to set up a Gardevoir, she has no way to actually get her own prizes.
No, even if Igor wants to, he can even do like steam up shenanigans to try to just deal with the routes without using Turtonator second attack. But I don't really see a reason to do that because you kind of want to get the energies off of him anyways, just so you can recycle it with the baby Volcanion in the future. Sydney is able to actually find her rare candy to get the Gardevoir out. But
is it too little, too late?
Yeah, it might be. And she still needs DCEs. She still needs to be using Secret Spring.
And she's got to get 3 straight knockouts before this Gardevoir is gone. But she's going to bring it out. Can she get the knockout on the Volcanion? 2 energy for her, 2 energy for Volcanion. So that's going to be 120, 150 with the Choice Band. And Volcanion is 180. She needs 1 energy. She doesn't have it.
No, she just hits the Volcanion for 150. And that's going to leave it, I mean, effectively useless. Igor, he can attack with it if he wants to, but it's not going to be doing enough damage to actually deal with the Gardevoir. If he retreats it, Sydney's already used multiple Guzmas. How does she actually spread damage to Igor's bench once that Volcanion just retreats? She has no way to deal with it anymore.
No, she would have to get a full other attack onto it. So it's as though she never attacked it in the first place.
Yeah, if Igor
really
can retreat that.
Yeah, really unfortunate that she couldn't get the double colorless onto the Gardevoir to actually be able to knock out this Volcanion. But can Igor retreat it?
I mean, if he has an energy, he could actually do multiple steam ups and potentially just knock out Gardevoir.
All right, so he's steamed up once, so he's looking at 160.
He needs 2 more plus a Fighting Fury Belt. But that's not going to happen. I mean, he can't. He physically cannot do that. There's not enough bench space to do that. I was thinking that he was going to go into Turtonator and try to hit with Bright Flame. Maybe find a Float Stone, because they do play Float Stone in the deck. So an out there would have been to go attach the Turtonator GX, try to find the Float Stone to retreat Volcanion, and then use the Steam Up plus a Choice Band to
be able to get the knockout with a
fight. He'd have to find a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just never happened.
But it is actually feasible, whereas you can't put 2 Volcanion on a bench which already has 4 on it. So it's actually just going to be retreat back to the Turtonator.
Shell Trap. Just hit it for 50 damage and chill.
You get the Steam Up for 30 plus the initial 20 from the Shell Trap.
Yeah.
There's the DCE. Now she's in business.
Yeah, that's actually enough to knock out a Turtonator with only 190 HP because of the Choice Band. That's 6 energy, so 6 times 3, 18, plus the Choice Band. That's going to be 210 damage. But, I mean, we see Igor, he has a Turtonator just set up on the bench. He only needs 1 energy. If Sydney does not find an N, Igor has a grip full of cards.
Well, he needs the energy for the Bright Flame. Then that is 210 on Gardevoir. So he needs 2 energy, actually, 1 to be able to steam up and 1 to attach. But now she actually takes the 80 damage from the Shell Trap, so 1 energy will do it.
Yeah, I mean, she has to take the knockout there every single time.
You don't have a choice.
So you're always taking that 80 damage, which means you're always susceptible to just getting knocked out by Igor attaching an energy. And
Igor will bring up the Turtonator if he thinks he can get the energy and get the knockout.
It looked like he was counting his deck, so...
He's got energy left side.
Yeah. I think he's just doing that to make sure that he doesn't potentially Sycamore himself to 0 cards.
And he is actually, he needs 3 prizes, so this knockout will not win the game for him, but this knockout would ensure that Sydney doesn't have a valid attacker besides the Lele that she's starting to develop some energy on, but that's not going to be enough.
Yeah, at this point in the game, Igor is just trying to get all the useless cards out of his deck, so that way if he gets end to 1 card, he will have a higher chance of hitting something like a Fire Energy. But one of Sydney's ways to win is if Igor doesn't have access to Guzma's plus more energies, she can target down the Pokemon that have energies or just try to use her last Guzma to promote a Lele or Volcanion or anything and just try to hope that Igor just cannot retreat it and also power up another attacker. It's very bleak for Sydney here. She's just going to go for the desperation energy drive.
But imagine if she just had that Guardy a turn or 2 earlier. She still managed to bring this one back and make it interesting, though she was behind pretty significantly from the start. So it looks like she will be dropping game number 1. When we go into game 2, if she gets a better start, we could have potentially a quick game 2 that goes in her favor. But we're looking at 28 minutes on the clock with 2 full games potentially to play out.
And they have to win this game. If they tie this game, they both do not make it to day 2.
Yeah, one of them has to take the win or they both do not make it.
This is an incredibly awkward situation for both of them if Sydney is able to take game 2. And it looks like Igor might not actually be able to necessarily close it out this turn because he can't use Professor Sycamore unless he knows for a fact he is winning the game when he plays it because he just doesn't have enough cards in deck. He'll deck out. So this is...
It's awkward.
Might not necessarily be over.
Can Sydney drag this one out just a little bit longer?
I mean, if Igor exhausted all of his fire energies, which is what we saw happen to Jimmy when he played against Pablo, they just can't attack anymore. They're playing 15 fire energies, though.
But Igor has most of them in his discard. He doesn't have that baby Volcanion active or even on the bench to be able to get some of that energy back. He doesn't even have room on the bench for it.
No, but he can let Sydney just knock out a Pokemon and then try to use that. And here we've seen Enhance Hammer come down. We've seen so many Enhance Hammers today. Yeah,
pretty much all of these Volcanion lists are playing 2 of them.
And it's used specifically to beat Gardevoir, but sometimes you see it have a splash effect, like against the Splash Energy.
Yeah, or also a colorful effect against the Rainbow.
Ha! Colorful Rainbow. I get it. You're so funny.
Thank you. I'm going to...
That was sarcasm.
Yeah, but I'm not going to record that part where you just said that was sarcasm. I'm going to record the part where you said, you're so funny, and then I'm going to hold it close to me on cold nights.
All right, then. You do that.
Thank you. I will. All right, Guardy set up now for Sydney. Igor just needs 1 prize, but if Sydney can get this Guardy going, I mean, there's a Lele with 6 energy on it.
Yeah, he used Nitro Tank. He uses GX Attack. He just put all his energies onto the Lele.
Does she have a Guzma?
Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I mean, there's more than enough energies here. And this play by Igor suggests to me that he does not actually have the energies in deck he needs to finish out the game.
No.
If Sydney is able to pull up this Tapu Lele, I don't think Igor has enough in the tank to win it, but it looks like Sydney is dead.
She can't do it. She didn't have the Guzma. She couldn't pull up the Lele and get the knockout. So that's going to be game 1 over to Igor with Volcanion. We're going into game 2, but we're already halfway through the round.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way that 3 games are going to be able to finish unless one of these games
is very fast.
Ends very quickly, which we have seen before. I mean, Igor's deck has the ability to deal upwards of 80 damage on turn 1.
Yeah, just with the baby Volcanion.
Yeah, while using Steam Up. So it is it's in the realm of possibility. But, I mean, if Igor wins again, then he wins, so...
Makes it a little bit easier to figure out. It's just if Sydney is able to take this one that things get a little bit tricky.
Yeah, but Igor having the ability to win a game quickly means that if Sydney wins this game, there's a small chance that it doesn't go to time and that Igor can just take a quick win. It's pretty unlikely, though, with the amount of consistency that Sydney has in her Gardevoir deck and just the amount of sheer Pokemon that have high HP. She's not playing the Sylveon package, so all of her Pokemon are just so bulky. And, like, her other Pokemon that she opted to play over Sylveon, like Alola Ninetales, is going to be able to find her more Pokemon. And it looks like Sydney might have a mulligan here. Yeah, okay.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's not what you like to see. But Sydney is going first, so she's going to be able to hopefully find an N and Igor down. If not, I mean, hopefully she's able to find a Bridget. That's pretty much your ideal turn 1. That's why you play it.
Get down a couple of routes.
Yeah. You just want to start setting up as fast as possible. Going first, I mean, the energy attachment's also very huge. But Igor can actually attack. He can. This is the one thing that we've seen that this deck does better than any other deck.
His last match?
This is the reason why this deck has seemed so good to me, is because going second isn't a disadvantage at all, as long as you're able to start with the Baby Turtonator, or not Baby Turtonator, Baby Volcanion.
Oh, wow. Sydney's going to go ahead and end away her hand right off the bat. Second game in a row that she's been forced to do that without even attaching an energy.
Yeah, that is not good for Sydney. She definitely wants to see those attachments early on. But she's able to find 2 Rolts. Last game, she didn't even have a Rolts in hand.
Yeah, she started Oranguru.
She started Oranguru. She just completely whiffed basics. This game, at least she's able to have the potential to explode onto the board on her turn 2.
Though it is at the mercy of giving Igor an additional card. And he's got first attack, which is very dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, we see that Igor has a Tapu Lele in the hand, so he can find a support. He can find a Sycamore. He has multiple. Actually, it might only be one. He has Fire Energy in his hand either way, though, so if he's able to find a Sycamore here, he can just discard the Fire Energy, which will let the Power Heater just attach it to the bench and effectively recycle it. Or he could get the Lily and just draw up to 8, since this is his first turn of the game.
I mean, he's done it quite frequently, actually, quite consistently. They managed to get that Lily, even though it's only a single copy. That does mean you're less likely to prize it, and you run multiple Tapu Lele, so you do have that additional ability to draw it on your first turn, draw up to 8, get the maximum use out of it.
Yeah, but it looks like he's going to go for the Sycamore here. He really wants to just get Power Heater online as soon as possible. If Igor is able to find a Volcanion EX, use Steam Up, attach a Fighting Fury Belt, he's going to knock out this Ralts on turn 1. That's huge if he's able to do that. Can he do it? He has the Fire Energy. He has the Volcanion EX. Does he have the Fighting Fury Belt is the question. If he does, he will take a prize on his first turn of the game. That's an Oranguru. So he might have more time and more cards. Oh, but he doesn't have the belt, have it.
So just short of the knockout. But he does get 50 damage onto that Ralts on turn 1 and then is able to bench 2 energy.
Ooh, that is very strong from Sydney if she can find a double colorless energy this turn. She can actually just knock out the Baby Volcanion. This Gallade is hitting for 130 damage.
Every turn that she plays a supporter, it is. She got N down this turn, and you're absolutely right. She needs to find that DCE.
If she can, this is a huge turn for Sydney. If she whiffs DCE, though, that's actually just game losing, unfortunately. And it does not look like she found the DCE.
No.
I actually don't think she found
we've
any
seen her
energy
with one at all.
I mean, she plays 4. She just is not.
Yeah.
She's not hitting him. And she has Premonition available, so she can try to find one for next turn off the top 5 cards of her deck, put it on top of the deck. She has a Rangaroo down, so maybe if she has more ways to get rid of her hand, she can Premonition, put DCE to the top, and then draw cards with her Rangaroo.
She finds fairies on that draw. Still no DCE.
Ooh.
Can't declare an attack with Gallade this turn. I mean, she can't get the knockout on the Volcanion, and Igor will have another turn to set up with Power Heater if he wants it.
Yeah, and it looks like she just uses the Rangaroo there. Draws up to 3 cards. But, man, that's just unfortunate. She effectively dug 5 cards deeper into her deck because she could draw any one of them and still didn't find DCE to draw with Instruct.
I mean, she did everything that she could possibly do to try and find one of the 4 copies of DCE. We don't know how many are prized, but the fact that she didn't find it is detrimental, completely. Yeah,
and she attaches the fairy to this Gallade, which means if a knockout actually occurs this turn on the Gallade,
she's missing a fairy energy she could have equipped or else.
Yeah. I think that's pretty unlikely, though. I mean, what can Igor do besides get Max Elixir? That's like his out, is to Max Elixir attach to the active Volcanion, or just attach a Floatstone and Max Elixir to the benched one.
Yeah.
And knock it out that way. But it looks like he opts to do neither of those things. He just Guzma ups a Ralts, and he's going to go in with Tapu Lele. Oh, no. Okay. I like this a lot.
Yeah, retreat that, get back the baby Volcanion, steam up so you get...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knocking out the Ralts here is probably more important than actually knocking out the Gallade, because the Gallade can only do 130 damage plus Choice Band. It can only ever do 160 damage max, so it's never one-shotting any of your GX Pokemon or EX Pokemon, whereas Gardevoir has infinite...
Literally infinite force.
Yes. it can do
and that's what, in my opinion, gives Gardevoir the edge in this matchup, because the Volcanion are forced to have 3 energy on them if they want to declare an attack, and then you need also Fighting Fury Belts, additional energies for Steam Up, plus additional Volcanion on the bench. But it seems like Igor always has those, and Sydney can't even find a DCE. Yeah. How unfair is that?
Life's not fair, Cora.
No, it's not. Pokemon certainly isn't either. Just like any other card game, you're at the mercy of your draw.
Yeah, and Sydney here, I mean, she's going to Premonition, try to find something to work with, but again, I don't even see a DCE. Like, this is just frustrating.
Yeah.
Because you know she plays 4. You know she keeps digging so deep into her deck, and she keeps not finding it.
She's going to put damage on the Volcanion, but still can't knock it out because of the Fighting Fury Belt. She is about 40 short.
Yeah, but if she's able to find a Field Blower, she can actually just Field Blower away the Fighting Fury Belt, which would knock out the Volcanion. So, honestly, this isn't the worst thing in the world, doing it this way. In fact, I don't even know if I would Field Blower if I had the ability to do it, because that means Igor has to retreat this Volcanion in order to be able to attack with Gallade. Or to attack the Gallade.
Yeah. He still needs to put 100 on Gallade to knock it out. So that would be pretty much just the Volcanion on the bench.
Man, for somebody who I remember as a junior when I played, Sydney has one scary death stare.
She's intimidating, huh?
I'm not going to lie. I'd be a little intimidated if I were Igor.
I mean, she's made it this far. She's going toe-to-toe with Igor. Maybe not so much when it comes to energy draws, but as far as how they've done in this tournament so far, they are on level footing.
Sydney did just take out Michael Pramawat last round.
And that's a big deal.
Yes, that is a huge deal.
Have you talked to Pram? Or just people who have talked to Pram?
I was actually watching the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually watching the game when I was
What was
walking
Pram
around.
playing? Volcanion?
Yeah, he was playing Volcanion. So she actually, ironically, just played this matchup.
Oh, goodness. And she won.
And she won. And now she's playing it again. And it's actually the same 60 cards. Because they're all playing the same 60 cards.
Yeah. Two very different matches. Same matchup.
Yeah. I mean, in that one, she actually found her Gardevoir GXs. And probably a couple DCEs. This game, not the case. Although we do see, ironically, as soon as I say that,
Gardevoir and a DCE?
She has a Gardevoir and a DCE, but you know what?
Is it going to just be too little too late again this game?
I don't think so.
She eventually found the Guardies last game, but it wasn't enough.
I honestly think that she could still be in a good position if she's able to get a Gardevoir this turn with attachments. But she actually doesn't attach the DCE that was in the hand. She had 2 Fairy Energies on the Gallade, right? Mm-hmm. She could have attached the DCE this turn to Ralts. I mean, even if she didn't have the Gardevoir, that seems like something that you might want to do.
I mean, she's really struggled to draw DCE in the past. You think, well, you've got it, you might as well put one on. Maybe don't front load them all onto the one with Choice Band, but do you really have options? You don't want to be super weak to Guzma.
Ooh, that was spicy.
That is spicy indeed. I like it. She chooses to attach the Fairy to the Kirlia that she just evolved.
Yeah, but imagine if that was... Oh, actually, no. I know why she didn't attach the DCE. Because Igor has not...
He's running Enhanced Hammer.
So this is actually really smart play by Sydney to hold on to the DCEs until she attacks.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. He can't knock away the Fairy Energy, but as long as she's able to pick up that DCE again, then she will have the guaranteed additional 60 damage on the Guardy before Igor can use that Enhanced Hammer and knock it away.
It's a risk-reward scenario here, because if you do end away your DCE and you don't actually find an attachment for the turn, you risk just not being able to power up your Gardevoirs to attack, because you need a Fairy Energy on Gardevoir to attack. I mean, it has Secret Swing ability, so it's easier, but...
But Infinite Force, the only requirement is a single Fairy Energy.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the play of just forcing your opponent to have to hold on to their Enhanced Hammers as effective dead cards. This is just very, like, good foresight from Sydney. Like, this just shows how good she is.
Yeah, but that Kirlia getting knocked out is really horrible. She did end up loading the Fairy Energy and the Choice Band onto that Kirlia, but Igor systematically struck it down, and now she's left with 1 Ralts on the bench with no setup. At least she needs Rare Candy Gardevoir right now to get this evolved, start to power it up, and hope that Igor can't snipe it again.
I mean, if Igor's able to chain back-to-back-to-back Guzmas, then...
He just deserves to win the game. Like, Guzma is such an incredibly powerful card. Most players are running 3 or 4 copies of it because it is so integral to their overall game plan. And if you've got him, you've got him.
Oh, man. Okay, so what... That's kind of funny. What Sydney just did there was she Acerolla'd her Ralts, or her Gallade, so that way she could bench the Ralts, so that way she can evolve the Ralts into Gardevoir over Gallade.
She doesn't need Gallade anymore, but she needs that extra Ralts.
She's like, I am done with you, Gallade. Why can't you be Gardevoir?
Fed up. Only 1 Gallade. You run 3 Guardy.
Why can't you be Gardevoir? Why did you have to be a Gallade?
I mean, it helped. The Gallade got the knockout in the baby Volcanion. It's done a nice job. But poor sweet Alolan Vulpix in the attacking position.
That must be scary. If you're a little Vulpix and you just see this giant Turtonator.
Giant fire turtle. Even though you're now weak to steel, I don't think I want to be there.
I think giant fire turtle still beats.
I like turtles as much as the next girl.
Is that a thing girls like? Do they like turtles?
We like memes, and memes tell us to like turtles.
Really?
At least me.
You look at some weird memes.
You ever seen the I like turtles meme?
No.
Really?
I don't think so.
Really?
I like turtles meme?
Oh my goodness.
This is going over my head.
Wow, okay.
All right. I know what you're going to show me at dinner
We'll
tonight.
move on. That's fine. That just means that I have access to a meme that you don't know about. It's an old one. It's an ancient meme by memes age, I guess.
Interesting. All right. Well, either way, Igor, I mean, he has the knockout if he just has a Steam Up plus a Fighting Fury belt while being able to use Shell Trap, which would be huge because that means whenever Sydney actually hits the Turtonator next turn, it's the Gardevoir is taking 80 damage, or the Gallade if she decides to go back into that, which might be the case if Shell Trap happens. But Igor is already on odd prizes, so evolving into Gallade doesn't actually do anything for you in terms of trying to give your opponent an awkward time prize-wise.
It's not like you're bringing them down to 3. They're going to need to get 2 knockouts anyway, so it's rather irrelevant what it's on, whether it be 2 GX.
Mm-hmm. She definitely wants to see these results become Gardevoirs. I mean, we see a Kirlia there, but like this is just so slow.
Kirlia's aight. But just think about the potential when it has 230 health and infinite force.
That is a big buff. You go from 80, 90 health to 230 in one jump.
Big power spike.
You went from 60 to 80, and then you're going from 80 to 230. That's just
exponential growth.
That's exponential growth. That is big. But then you got Turtonator over here, who doesn't even have to evolve. He's just naturally thick.
Spiky.
And spiky.
Fiery.
He's very fiery, like Igor's deck.
But also, ironically, if he's a turtle, should be aquatic. You know, but who knows? Volcanion gets away with it, so.
Wait, that does not look aquatic.
Well, he could be Tortoisinator.
Tortoisinator?
I don't know.
No.
Turtles like water, Ray. Tortoises,
that's true.
Turtles like water, tortoises don't.
All right. Either way, Igor, he has... I mean, he can knock out this Oranguru if he wants to.
Yeah, he has turtle power.
He has Bright Flame if he wants to attach and just knock it out. He can just Shell Trap here and just not really care about the Oranguru and just make it so that Sydney has an awkward time having to deal with Turtonator. But taking out this Oranguru, I think, would be a pretty big deal. Just because...
Cuts off her draw.
It cuts off her draw, and on top of that, it puts him on even prizes, so one GX knockout would be the game. But if Sydney can actually win this game, there is no way the game 3 is going to happen.
No. Not a chance. Both of these decks are capable of ramping up and taking prizes very quickly. But when they're against each other, they're being played so well, it's just not going to happen.
No, and here we're just going to see Igor attach Floatstone to the Oranguru. He's going to burn a switch, which means he wants to instruct to draw more cards. He's going to instruct here, most likely just looking for a Guzma or just more energies. He's going to take the knockout here on the Kirlia. Easy prize. He's down to even prizes. One GX knockout is going to do it for Igor right now.
Sydney's going to want to get this Gardevoir into the active spot, get the knockout on the Turtonator. But the Volcanion can then come up. But you need to get that reach to the 230. And Volcanion can really struggle with that. You're going to need multiple Steam Ups plus a Fighting Fury belt to just get there. So Igor going to put the Oranguru in the active spot. It has a float stone on it, so easily retreated when he wants to.
Yeah. I mean, can he do it? is the question. He has an energy in his hand. He has a Sycamore. I mean, right now, if he doesn't actually get it, there's a chance that Sydney can just find another Guzma, knock out the Volcanion. Igor does have an energy on Tapu Lele, so if Sydney accidentally overpowers this Gardevoir,
Tapu Lele could get the revenge kill, but
that's a lot of energy.
Sydney can still do this.
That is 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's only doing 140 right now, so Igor would need to attach another energy, 160, and Sydney would have to also attach a DCE on top. Like that, it's just never happening. This Tapu Lele is never going to one-shot Gardevoir. At best, the Tapu Lele is going to soften it up and set it up to get knocked out by Volcanion, which would almost put Sydney in checkmate. If Igor attacks with Tapu Lele this turn, does a decent amount of damage, and has the Volcanion on the bench just waiting to attack the Gardevoir, how does Sydney take prizes without attacking with the Gardevoir? She doesn't have a Ralt set up on the bench. She can't evolve into another Gardevoir.
No, this is her last large attacking resource. This is all she's got. She's got her own Tapu Leles on the bench, but no energy to commit to them to be able to get knockouts with energy drive. It needs to be this Guardy.
Yeah, I think if Igor just attacks with Volcanion EX this turn and does 140 or
he can get it over 2 turns.
Like, even if he doesn't get the one-hit knockout this turn, he can force Sydney into a checkmate position where if she actually attacks Volcanion, Tapu Lele knocks you out no matter what. And if or the other way around, vice versa. It does not matter.
The Lele first and then Volcanion second. You want to keep a Volcanion on your bench to have steam up, but he has the other one, of course, available if the first one gets knocked out.
Yeah, now Cindy, she doesn't have any good options. Actually, since Igor did it the other way around, Sydney could find another double colorless if she has one and use Tapu Lele to knock out Igor's Tapu Lele. And if Igor doesn't have a Guzma, he doesn't have a way to actually knock out
she finds the DCE with the Sycamore draw.
Okay, so if Igor does not have multiple fire energies to discard to steam up, actually he only needs 1. So if he doesn't have a fire energy, I guess that would be game. But Sydney uses Max Potion. Max Potion comes in clutch here.
There's that one Max Potion tech in the deck. You don't see it always. Actually, she is playing 2. You don't see it always, but it is absolutely clutch when you make use of it, healing all of the damage counters off.
But it looks like Igor has the Guzma. He has the fire energy to be able to steam up. So he's showing Sydney what he was doing there. He's pointing to the Tapu Lele, saying, I'm going to bring up the Tapu Lele. I'm going to steam up. I'm going to hit 160. I have the Fighting Fury Belt. I'm going to hit 170. I'm knocking out your Tapu Lele. It's
going to be game.
That's game.
Over the next turn, Igor was going to get it. And though Sydney played so very well to the hand she was dealt, struggled really to set up the Gardevoir early on, struggled to find the DCEs. But in the face of Igor's Volcanion build that plays 2 Enhanced Hammer to try and counter Gardevoir, this matchup is very even and seems to be leaning Volcanion favored now as well. So unfortunate for Sydney, but Igor is going to take that win, and I believe that ensures that Igor will be making it through to day number 2. That's an incredible achievement.
And on the flip side, it ensures that Sydney does not make day 2.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Unfortunately, it was, what, 6-0-3? You need your 21 points. So 6-0-3 or 7-1-1, obviously, or better would qualify you for day number 2. But Sydney, this just was not her day. Igor looking very, very nice on this Volcanion build that we've been seeing his entire play group come to the event with and really just roll through it. They have been doing so well.
I wouldn't be surprised if